Today, I'd like to share with you the fastest, easiest way that I know of to revolutionize your business and your life. And to do this, I'd like to tell you a story. So way back, shortly after Al Gore invented the internet, I ran a company creating websites for people. And my target market was Wisconsin manufacturers. That's where I live. And I had this package that I put together, 30 pages for, I believe, $3,000. So it's been a lot of years since I did this. And so I'm a little fuzzy on the numbers, but I'm very confident that I know one key number that we're going to get to in just a minute. So I believe it was $3,000. So if you would have called me on December 23rd, and ask me, hey, I'd like to have you do a website for me. How much will it cost? I'd describe this package. I'd tell you all about it. And then I'd tell you it was $3,000 for that package. Okay. Now, every year between Christmas and New Year's, I take time off and all I do is think and play with my family. And that year, as I was thinking, I thought, you know what? I've worked really hard this year and I haven't made much money. And as I thought about it, I thought, so I remember my business at this time was creating websites for people. And I said, so what if I was to take that $3,000 package and increase the price on that? Could I make some more money? And as I thought about it, I thought this, if I was to double my price, I could lose half of my customers and still make the same amount of money. This is really, really important math to understand in your life. If you double your price, you can lose up to half of your customers and still make as much money. And what's the probability that you're actually going to lose half your customers because you double your price? All right. So December 23rd, the price was $3,000 for a 30-page website. If you would have called me on January 3rd and said, how much would it be for a website? And by the way, several people called me on January 3rd and heard this very thing. I described to them this 30-page website, what was in it and everything else like that. And the price was $12,000, a 4 times increase in price. So again, I'm not 100% sure whether it was 3,000 and 12,000. I do remember distinctly that I had quadrupled my price. And here's the thing. People still bought. Even though I had 4 times my price, people still bought. In fact, at the end of that year, when I took my Christmas to New Year's time off and thought and looked at my numbers, what I realized was that I had worked for the exact same number of customers that year that I'd worked for the previous year. But that same number of customers made it so that I 4 times my sales that year. And more importantly, it took just as much work, just the same amount of expense for my outsourcers and things to build that website for a $3,000 website as it took to do a $12,000 website, because it was the same package. And so what ended up happening was I way more than 4 times my profit. Again, since it was so many years ago, I can't remember exactly, but I think it was around like 12 times my profit went up in this process. And the cool thing was that same number of people that I worked with, and remember, I said earlier, what's the probability that if you double your price, you'll actually lose half of your customers? Well, in my case, I quadrupled my price and I didn't lose any customers. I had the same number of customers before that I did afterwards. And the cool thing was that group of customers that I got that year were better customers. You see, somebody who's willing to only pay $3,000 for a website is not the same customer as one who's willing to pay $12,000. $12,000 people tend to be better business people. They don't call you at 3 o'clock in the morning, which literally happened to me. Telephone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning. This is pre-cell phones. And so it's actually ringing on the stand by my bed. I pick it up and they say, there's a typo on this page. And I said, you approved that page. What are you doing calling me at 3 o'clock in the morning? Well, I got to get it off my mind so I can sleep. So you just woke me up so that you can sleep? The $12,000 people, number one, made sure it was right before they approved it. And they called me at 10 o'clock in the morning to tell me the same thing. Much, much better price customers. So here's my advice to you. If you want to literally change everything, raise your prices. It'll revolutionize your business and your life. What's your thoughts? My guess is the thought that's going through your mind is, well, that worked for you, Don. It'll never work for me because I can't get people to buy from me right now anyway. Well, guess what? Sometimes when you increase your price by 4 times, I can tell you, because I had a number of people tell me this. I was in their acceptable set of people to provide that service for them because I was priced at $12,000. When I was a $3,000 product offerer, I was too cheap. I wouldn't do the job for them. You actually graduate to a better group of customers who want to buy from you, who are more likely to buy from you at that higher price. Now, I'm not saying every single person should go out and quadruple their prices. I believe that every person should consider doing it. Test it and try it out. It could change your world. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is Don Crowther saying, just go do this stuff.